Hello, I'm Joan Smythe, recalling these memories as a 79-year-old lady. As a child, I lived in North London with my family. My father was a commercial artist. Unfortunately, the paint he used had a great deal of lead in it. Over time, the lead affected his liver. The doctor suggested he took some outdoor work. He found a park keeper's job that had a tiled cottage with it. So when I was about 9 years old, the family moved into Rose Cottage in Castle Wood. It was a lovely little home. It had a cloakroom and a pantry at the front, a maid living room, 3 small bedrooms, and a very tiny galley kitchen and bathroom. It only had gas lighting and 1 open fire, and only with cold water, which was heated by an Ascot heater. Living in woods was an idyllic playground for us children. We played cowboys and Indians, hide and seek, we climbed the trees and made dens. Most of this was done in the dense shrubs and trees along the back drive leading to the cottage. My mother used to run the little tea shop at the base of the castle. At weekends I used to help her by doing the washing up. People used to pay 1 penny to go to the top of the castle to look at the view. One of Dad's duties was to raise the flag in the morning and lower it at about sunset. He always took me with him. I used to run all the way to the top of the steps. I wish I could do that now. With my brothers and sister, we went to the Deansfield School. Leaving the cottage in the mornings, we turned left at the steps leading to the rose garden, smelling the lovely roses all the way. I can still remember their names. Iceberg was a white one, Peace was yellow, and Ena Harkness dark red. After the rose garden, there were more steps leading to the large field, and then onwards to Crookston Road and Daresey Road. In the rose garden, there was a giant redwood tree, a sequoia, I believe. It has a very soft bark, and for some unknown reason, Dad told us to punch it when we passed by. Very close by was a glorious camellia shrub. It was very tall with bright red flowers. At the back of Rose Cottage garden was Stony Alley, along which were some sweet chestnut trees. When the nuts were ripe and dropping, we collected them and Mum would roast them in the ashes of the fire. They tasted delicious. From the kitchen window of the cottage, you could see a large plant nursery. The gardeners used to grow all the flowers and shrubs that were to be planted in Jackwoods, Oxleys, Eaglesfield and the Castlewoods. There used to be lots of gardeners back then. There are also many park keepers. I can still remember their names. Mr. Goodchild, Mr. Levy, Mr. Cooper and Mr. Hawes. When Rose Cottage became too small for us all, we moved into Jackwoods and after that into Holbrook House on Shooters Hill.
Hello, I'm Joan's sister, so naturally some of this is going to be rather repeated. We were a London family, but when Dad became ill, he was told to leave his work as a commercial artist and find outdoor work. So we found ourselves going from noisy London with its bomb sites to Shooters Hill in a woodland park. Our first nights in the little cottage were very eerie, with owls hooting and only gas lighting and oil lamps. But after a week or so, we began to really enjoy it. After all, how many children could say they lived in a wood with its own fairy castle? Dad would take us on nature walks to Oxley's Wood and teach us the names of the trees and even their botanical ones, which we all still remember. In the autumn, we gathered sweet chestnuts for roasting and conkers for the nature table at school, and of course always for playing conkers. We discovered lots of wildlife which we'd never heard or seen before: the cuckoo, pheasants, rabbits, and lots of squirrels. Sadly, at that time, the rabbits had myxomatosis, and we came across them frequently with their very large, bulging eyes, which was rather sad, and many had to be shot. And also at that time, there was a bounty of 1 shilling on the grey squirrel, as they had become a pest. We went to the Deansfield School, and on our way we walked down the steps and through the beautifully kept rose garden. Lovely roses in summer, masses of crocuses in the spring, and Virginia creeper on the walls that went bright red in the autumn. This was all cared for by an army of gardeners and park keepers who became our friends because they used the bothy which was under our house. Our dad was a park keeper and did many jobs, clearing ditches, tree planting, and he also hoisted the flag on the castle and looked after visitors in the park, and sometimes taking payment at the putting green. Dad sat in the little hut and gave out golf clubs and balls to lots of people who wished to play. We loved it and went round the putting green many times, becoming very good. The highlight for us children was, of course, Severndroog Castle. I know it's only a little tower, but to us then it was a huge castle. We climbed lots of steps to reach it on its high hill, and once inside there were hundreds of stairs to get to the top, and from the top we could see the world stretching for miles. For us it was lived in by witches, fairies, knights, dragons and wizards. In reality, of course, Mum worked in the tea shop selling sweets, tea and cake, and it was a penny to climb to see the view, and you could sit outside and have tea and cake or ice cream. We often helped to clear the tables during our school holidays. In my late teens, we moved from Rose Cottage to Jackwood, in the house that is now the council offices, with the beautiful terrace as our back garden. When I started work, I travelled to London every day, but it was always very nice to come home in the evening to our wonderful woodlands. We are all very pleased that the woods and the castle are being looked after for future generations.